Good morning. Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. Good to have you with us. It is Wednesday, May the 29th. We're just moving through this month. June is coming up this weekend. Are you ready for June? Well, it's here. My co-host this morning, Dr. Alana Pagao, has joined us from the Northwest College. Lana, it's hard to believe. We just seems like we just got into May. Now June's up, and we got summer classes starting.
Yeah, it's going quickly, and I've got a birthday coming up this weekend. So when I was a kid, I'd love to get I loved celebrating my birthday. Now, as I get older, all I think is, wow, another year older.
I know. It's hard to imagine, but the good thing, I guess, though, is you always had your birthday during the summer, right?
Well, the schools I went to got out in the middle of June, so I still got to, as a
Okay.
kid, celebrate it in school.
Well, it is a happy early birthday to you this week,
Right.
this weekend. Hopefully, you'll have some festivities planned for the weekend itself. We want to thank everyone for being here this morning. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. You can find us there just about every weekday morning, live at 10 a.m. when HCC is in session. But Lana, they can always catch us anytime in social media, rewatch the show, and they can catch us on our channel too.
That's right. We are live on the Houston Community College District Facebook page, not HCC, and we're on YouTube. We're also on X, LinkedIn, and on HCCTV at noon, 5 and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
All right, so Lana, you're going to be talking with this next guest, and we're continuing to celebrate May as Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And this morning, we've got the head of our International Services Program, Dr. Nithy Sevanthinathan, joining us once again. Always good to see you, Nithy. I think your mic is muted.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, good to have you with us. It's AAPI month again. Nithy, and we're about to talk with a student success story. Are you familiar with this student?
No, I'm not. I'm not familiar. I'm very curious to listen to what she have to share about her journey.
It's an incredible journey. We heard about this. Somebody sent me an article that was our communications department did on it, and it's certainly a great testament for HCC and for the students' journey as well. So stick around, Nithy. We're going to be with you. Lana will be with you in about 10 minutes. All right. And as I mentioned, we have another student success story who is also an international student now pursuing her doctorate at one of the best universities in the country. Riyam Al Msari is a former HCC student, now a biological engineering Ph.D. candidate. She's got a lot going on. She's up in the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, better known as MIT. Riyam, thanks for joining us here this morning. Good to see you.
Oh, thank you, Todd, for the great introduction. It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, I heard about your story and I'm like, this is pretty incredible. Now, a little background from what I understand, you grew up in war-torn Iraq back in the early 2000s. But at 8 years old, your home was shelled and destroyed. You relocated with your family to another province. And from what I understand, because of your ethnicity and your gender, your family was having issues there. Now, shortly after all of this, your father was granted political asylum in the US in 2016. Then your mother was diagnosed with cancer, and at just 18, you became her caregiver. Were you able to get over here to the US after your father? How did that work?
Yeah, so when my dad came to the US with a tourist visa, then he applied for asylum. And when he got his asylum, shockingly in 3 months, it was very quick. He did the follow to asylee procedure. And so we followed him 2 years after. That's how long it took. And during that time, that's when my mom was diagnosed with head and neck cancer. So it was a very difficult time for the family, all of us being separated. But yeah, luckily we got to come together at different time points with the help of Kamala Harris' office, and we're here and we're also thankful.
Now, would that be in 2018 when you arrived, or what year did you arrive in the States?
End of 2018.
End of 2018.
Yes.
Since then, now you've gone to HCC and you're moving on to MIT. How did that transition happen? I mean, that's a huge leap in really a relatively short amount of time. We're only talking, what, 5, 6 years?
Yeah, so when I was in Iraq, I have done 2 years of dental school. And with my mother's diagnosis, I knew that I didn't want to do dental school anymore. So when I came to the US, I was like lost and didn't know what to do. And I didn't know what career routes or paths were out there. So Texas Services for Refugees recommended that I apply for Houston Community College, and I did. And I had an awesome conversation with David Franklin in which he told me about all the career like paths that I could take if I wanted to do research in cancer. And that like opened up doors for me to see what is out there and what this country has to offer me. So yeah, I was like, you can do biology or biological engineering, and I was like aiming for both at HCC, took all the required classes and applied, and it was, yeah, it was like more resources coming into my phase, and now I'm here, and it sounds unbelievable, but it's all because of the hard work and the resources that were offered to me.
And you work with a program, is it called LSAMP? What is that program? Because it looks like that helped you with moving on as well.
Yeah, so I think the program stands for Louise Talks Alliance for Minority Participation. So it helps people from underrepresented communities to come together and tackle research questions or problems that were out there. I heard about the program from a flyer in the hallway, and I was like, great, I'm gonna apply. So it was like a group of people. We were tackling the plastic crisis back at the time, and it's still a crisis still now. But I think the program helped me improve my leadership skills, work with a team, and know how to think critically about important questions. And the people who were with me in the team, we all wanted to go to a four-year university, and so we worked together on our statement of purposes and how to apply to universities and how to do that. And also the faculty there were helping us with this. So I think it was a truly transformative experience for me to really transition to the next step after HCC.
What made you decide to pursue a PhD?
Yes. So at my time in when I did research at UC San Diego, I realized that most of the standard of care treatment for cancer are not targeted, in which means the treatments target cancer cells and non-cancer cells. And I thought, well, there must be a way in which we can make these therapies target only cancer cells, and the way to do that is engineering. And I was like, biological engineering major. So the undergrad experience like teaches you or gives you an introductions of the tools out there, but in order to apply those tools, the PhD program was the right program to actually explore what is out there and utilize those tools to make those targeted therapies. And that's why I wanted to do a PhD.
And you've also been awarded a pretty hefty fellowship for New Americans, a $90,000 fellowship. Tell us how that works.
Yes, so I found about the fellowship last summer, and it's for immigrants, and I was like, I'm an immigrant. And my main motivation for applying was the group of people who were out there. They were like outstanding people with like great experiences and background. And I wanted to be part of that group so I can learn from all of their experiences and their skills. And you know, when you put great-minded people in the same room, they come up with great-minded ideas. So that was my main motivation, and I'm so glad that I got it. It's a great opportunity.
And you're also a diversity chair at MIT. Is that correct as well?
Yes.
Tell us about what, obviously that got to mean a lot to you.
Yes, this is so important to me because as an immigrant, when I came to the US, I knew nothing about life here or how to get to like a university like MIT. And I feel like I was lucky and was offered with many great coincidences, and that is not the case for a lot of people for underrepresented communities. And I feel like it's my responsibility and my duty to offer these resources for those people. Because there are a lot of people out there with great potential. They just don't have the resources to check all the boxes that makes them
Right.
come to like great universities or places with opportunities. And as a diversity chair, I help with the grant recruitment, reaching out those communities and telling them what they need to do if they want to pursue this type of degree or that type of degree. So yeah, I feel it's like really important for our community to get out there and help those people.
You know, there are a lot of students here at HCC, and many of them are maybe struggling financially to get through college, working jobs, raising children, things like that, overcoming difficulties. What would you tell them? I mean, you've been able to, in a relatively short amount of time, to really exceed a lot of goals that people strive for. What would you tell the people that are struggling right now, especially the students who are thinking, you know what, I just want to move to the next level?
Yes. I have definitely felt in like I was in that position before, and I felt like, well, it's never gonna change. I'm stuck. Like I have to do all of these things, and I'm never gonna be as equal as the people who started earlier and they're already like out there in the next level. But all I can say is that patience and being ambitious and hardworking and resources are out there. We just have to look for them. And I mean, as a diversity chair, I'm really trying to make these resources more available. But if you keep the hard work and if you're ambitious and if you set your one goal in front of you, no matter what happens, you're going to reach it. So
Right.
it just needs time and patience.
Um, how long are you away from completing your PhD, and what type of future goals do you have beyond MIT?
Yes. Hopefully, 4 or 5 more years really depends on me and how much I want to get out of this PhD. For my future goal, I'm still uncertain whether I want to do academia or go in the biotech world, but I feel a bit very interested in the biotech world right now and maybe like starting a startup that helps in targeted cancer therapeutics. And in fact, like a cohort team that we formed together. We're trying to start this startup that cures and gives vaccines to HIV infections. So we're learning all the skills that we need to know for getting funding, writing grants, and getting our lab space. So hopefully that helps me and helps like the team to prepare for our future goals.
Well, you've got a lot on your plate, but we wish you the best. I mean, incredible story, and we're grateful for you being on our show. Riyam Al Msari, she is a former HCC student, now a PhD candidate at MIT. You know, wish you continued success, Riyam. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, you take care. Very
Mhm.
inspirational story, Lana, and I'm sure that'll certainly give a lot of our students maybe the courage to keep going.
So impressive. So impressive, especially UC is considered like a state Ivy League. And then
Yeah.
to move on to MIT, I am so impressed. What a wonderful young woman. So we are going to now speak to Dr. Nithy Sevanthinathan. He is the Director of HCC International Student Services. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Nithy.
Thank you, Lana. Appreciate that. Riyam, I can't say anything better than what Lana said. Inspiring journey, and I know you're going to do great. You're going to go very far. I know your journey is going to inspire many more students in the refugee population. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Absolutely. Wonderful words. So, Nithy, tell us about this year's theme, which is part of a joint White House and Smithsonian initiative.
Correct. This year's journey is called Bridging Histories, Shaping Our Future. That's the theme. Every year, the White House put together the theme for the AAPI. That's the beautiful theme. This is an interesting time of our journey, seeing that this population or this community needs to share who they are. It's a very, very diverse community. There are about 70 over countries are considered to be part of AAPI. It's interesting. Many people think AAPI is only the Asian community of Chinese from Hong Kong, from Taiwan, from Korea, from Japan, but there is beyond that. There are Central Asia, there is Southeast Asia, Filipinos, Indians, there are very diverse populations. So it's important that we understand who they are and how they impact our journey in the United States.
So you just mentioned it, but how many cultures are celebrated under that AAPI
Oh,
umbrella?
wow. I will not able to provide you the real data because there are about 70 over countries are involved. And again, under the 70 countries, there are subcultures within the countries. Just take for an example, I grew up in Malaysia. That world is very different. We have Chinese, Indian, Malay, and then we have Christian, we have Buddhist, and all these have subcultures, how they celebrate different things. And I'm sure, Lana, of your experience, you will say the same thing from the Philippines. There are very diverse population, subcultures, sub-communities, and celebrate things very diversely. So I don't want to say something that might not be really true because they are so diverse within a country, within a culture. So I want to really be respectful how to highlight their contribution from a diverse background.
Yeah, it's true that the Asian community is not a monolith. There are so many diverse cultures within AAPI. And I know they just added Native Hawaiian as well, which I would think would be part of Pacific Islander, but that's very interesting. So why do you think Houston is an important city for these communities?
If you look at the migrant population, they all are looking to better themselves and their family. And Houston have attracted a very diverse migrant populations from around the world. You can see it in the ISDs. We got quite a number of ISDs in this region. And HISDs, we have about close to 200 over students and 100 over different languages are spoken. That's one identity you can somehow relate to. The second identity is the restaurants. You can't create a restaurant when you don't have that particular community. You can see how diverse is the restaurant industries in Houston. That's another identity that we need to really relate. You can find any types of food, and then now we go into the economic growth. You can see in the space industry, you can see in the healthcare industry, you see about the airline industry, the port industry, the educational industry, in the manufacturing industry, in the oil and gas industry. These are the main industries that we host in Houston. And if you see their workforce is extremely diverse. And that's the affirmation. And also, if you can see in the global scale, if you see that students who are coming to study in the US, the largest population that comes into the US are from Asia. Now, that's another affirmation. So there is something is brewing in Houston to attract all these people because we got some of the best higher education institutions. That's what I'm part of, Houston Community College. Then we have top flagship universities, state universities, private universities, and all these at the end move them to where they want to go in their journey of success, whatever that means, into career in higher ed, career in Space Force, or career in healthcare. That's what we are.
Yeah, when I moved to Houston, I was surprised at how diverse Houston is. And I was really excited that there's a whole part of Houston that is completely and totally Asian. So that was really exciting for me. So as the director of HCC's International Student Program, do you see a lot of students from the AAPI regions?
Absolutely. As I said, the data is very true that comes out from from ICE. We can see the largest population that comes to Houston Community College is from Asia. The number one population is from Vietnam. And that's also, you can see that relates to the community. We are one of the largest Vietnamese community in Houston. So somehow the localized thinking happens when you see your environment, who they are. You can find some of the best Asian restaurants, Vietnamese restaurants, is because they came here beyond the international. They came here in the refugee era. That something is very important. Another population I see that's growing in size, the Afghanistan refugees are moving. I saw an article about 8 months ago, that's about 15,000 refugees are in Houston. in the larger community. So it's very important. And now you'll be pleasantly surprised. You'll see more Afghan restaurants, Afghan students moving into diverse career path. Like what our former student said from HEC, Riyam, it's a perfect example of how HEC shaped her journey. And I'm sure we're going to shape many more journeys. I just got a text from a fellow ambassador, international student from Vietnam. She's been accepted to UCLA into the business program. She was my ambassador, an F1 student, and look where she's going. So Vietnamese student, and that's another affirmation. We get students from all around the world. Mostly those who come to Texas, I can say about 95% stay in Texas because they already build the roots because of family, friends, cousins, aunts, uncle, and that's what they see, and that's why they choose to come to Houston for that opportunity and that growth prospect.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe Houston has the third largest Vietnamese population in the United States.
Right.
So how do you handle cultural and intellectual integration in and outside the HCC classroom?
You know, Riyam, the biggest, Lana, sorry, I've been thinking about, if you look at the intellectual and cultural growth, if you see in any industry that we have, without the diverse contribution, we might not see innovation. If you see in the innovation world, almost I want to be very careful, about 50 to 60% are migrants who have given this data, drive, energy. What I know through my doctoral program, one of the beautiful things that these students come with is self-motivation. They really want to succeed. They really want to work hard to move forward. And that happens inside the classroom and outside the classroom. We see in HEC, most of the SGA students are international students. In the United Student Council are international students, because despite we are a commuter community, the international students feel like they want to stay longer on campus and try to explore for many resources. They can expand their horizon, make new friends, contribute, engage. And that's the data. You can see it in HEC itself, how diverse we are with this population, whether they are immigrant population or whether they are refugee population, whether they are international population. Their one goal is to be motivated to move to the next phase. And that's the evidence of success. And that applies if you look at NASA, if you look at in the oil and gas industry, just walk into one of the grocery store, walk to Kroger, walk to Walmart, walk to HEB. You see the diversity. And where do they come from? They're not flying in, they're all in our community. And that's how I see the cultural, there are many diverse events that take place in HEC, as well as in the community, how they share their cultures, how we learn from them. Remember, we all evolve when we move from one place to the other.
Well, this is always a fun and interesting conversation. So thank you, Dr. Nithy Sevanthinathan, HCC International Student Services Director. We'll have your information in our post after the show.
Thank you, Dr. Lana. Have a great day. Have a great celebration of the AAPI. Thank you again,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
All right. Thanks, Nithy. Always good to see you. We've got a few announcements to get through. It is that time of year. Instructional Service Awards are going on, and HCC is accepting nominations for the Instructional Services Awards for this academic year. Please nominate your outstanding colleagues or yourself, and you can submit more than one nomination. The categories are as follows: Outstanding Faculty Leader and Outstanding Faculty Member, Outstanding Instructional Administrator, Outstanding Instructional Services Staff Member. Deadlines for submissions are today at noon, so get them in, folks. Check our post after the show where you can submit your nominations. And we've also got a workshop on the Eastside coming up, Lana.
Yeah, we have B2G Victory and HCC Center for Entrepreneurship are offering workshops on building your business, including building your capability statement. And that is 10 a.m. to noon, Thursdays, May 30th and June 6th at the HCC Eastside campus. Registration info is in our post after the show.
Okay, HCC, you know, it is that time of year where we have a number of summer camps for kids, and we've got one out at the Katy campus. If you're looking for something a little different, HCC's agriculture camp, your kids can study ag science careers and horticulture. There's giving hands-on activities with plants and other activities as well. It's for grades 6 through 9, and the cost is only $25. It's 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., Monday to Friday, June 24th through the 28th. So coming up next month, and it is at our HCC's Katy campus. Registration info for the camp is in our post after this particular show. And we also have some community dance classes as well.
Yeah, dance classes for youth, teens, and adults. And HCC's community learning program is offering several dance classes and one mat Pilates class this summer. The prices range from $44 to $89. That's a bargain. Classes begin in June, and they will be at our HCC Northwest Spring Branch campus, and registration information will be posted after the show.
Okay, it is. I'm going to skip down to registration because we got to let everybody know summer registration underway along with fall registration. Get your registration handled as early as possible to make sure you get the classes you need. Go to hccs.edu/apply for more information there. Okay, tomorrow's Thursday Family Fun Day. The entomologist from Enchanted Gardens will discuss his upcoming workshop on how to bring butterflies, hummingbirds, and bees to your own garden. That is happening tomorrow. And later this week, we'll feature Film Friday before we get ready for June and a long, hot summer. Thanks for being here today. Thanks, Lana. We'll see you next week.